Okay, take 2. Here we go, 4th grade. This is your Wednesday math lesson, lesson 16.1. You need to go ahead and grab 2 pieces of paper for me. Rip out page 823 and 825. You will also need a pencil and your math notebook to take some additional notes. So if you need to pause this and go ahead and grab your things, I'm going to go ahead and move on. So, taking a look at our notes, we are going to be talking about some different types of lines. And I'm going to kind of just hold my hands over this because I just want to talk about one set of lines at a time. So you will be taking notes on this. So I want you to copy down. I want your page to look just like mine. And you can do this on the back side of your page with the different types of lines or wherever works best for you. So these lines that you see here are called parallel lines. The biggest thing about a set of parallel lines, there's always going to be 2 lines, and they never, ever, ever intersect. Think of parallel lines just like the 2 L's in parallel. Parallel lines, they can be going up and down, side to side, diagonal like you see these here. Okay, but like I said, parallel lines never, ever, ever intersect. So that means they don't cross. In other words, for intersect means they don't cross. Okay? Then you've got intersecting lines. Okay, you've got lines that don't intersect, and then intersecting lines are lines that do, or lines that cross. Now, these can look like a cross, or they can look like an X, and they can be kind of a scrunched up X or a really tall X. But as long as they intersect, no matter where, they're classified as intersecting lines. Pause anything if you need to, if I'm going too quick. Okay, our last set of lines that we're going to talk about in today's lesson are perpendicular lines. The thing about perpendicular lines, they're very similar to intersecting lines, but they form right angles. So what that means is where they intersect, a right angle is formed, just like you see here. And remember, a right angle from our last lesson makes like the corner of a square or the corner of a rectangle. So this would be an example of perpendicular lines. And so this perpendicular line, I know I only marked one of the right angles, but there really is a right angle in each of these 4 corners here. Okay, so it kind of makes the letter T. So if you need to pause this because you need some more time, go ahead and do so. All right, I reprinted a piece of paper for my guided practice. So I'm looking at page 823 with you now, keeping my notes close so that I can take a look at them. Okay, because we're going to look at numbers 3 through 6 and 7 through 12. You'll notice it's going to ask us to name 4 points, to name 4 lines. And those are things that you guys learned in your last lesson, lesson 15.1, lines, rays, and angles. So if they're asking us to name 4 points, you're going to look. Okay, remember a point is the dot. To name that dot, you've got to put it. Okay, we've got point W, point X, point Y, and it looks like point Z. Okay, to name 4 lines. Now this is what's tough, and I know that it kind of has tricked some of you on lesson 15.1. These lines have arrows at the end, right? And we see our points, okay? But the neat thing about lines is any ray or any line can also be a line segment, and all that changes is the way that you label it. So since we're naming 4 lines, remember lines have our arrows, 2 arrows specifically, okay? Shows that the line goes on and on forever and ever. So if we're going to, instead of naming 4 today, we're just going to name 2, but we'd have line WX. Now, let's say, I'm not saying that this is happening, but say they were being specific about the line segment. Well, the only difference between line WX, to make it a line segment, we just wouldn't put our arrows. We'd just put WX. And that would represent the segment, not the arrows on the edge. Same line, but this line has a line segment within it. Okay, but like I said, that has nothing to do with number 4. I'm just kind of trying to explain something a little bit further for some more clarification. Okay, so here we've got down at the bottom line YZ. Now you can also see we have the lines that run vertically as well. So name 2 pairs of parallel lines. Again, reviewing, parallel lines are the lines that never intersect. Okay, and so it wants us to name 2 pairs. So pair of shoes, there's 2. So you're going to have your line WX, okay, line WX, what line is parallel to that? What line does not intersect? That would be and line YZ. That's one set, one pair, okay, like a pair of shoes. Then, to name the other pair, we would have to do the ones that run vertically. So we've got line WY. Okay, well, what line is vertical? You would have line XZ. And instead of putting a comma in there, we'll put and, sorry, because they're showing that it's a pair. Here's a pair, here's a pair. So name 2 pairs of perpendicular lines. Well, where do you kind of see like the corners of what would be a square? You see them here, and here, and here, and here. So those lines that cross, the lines that create a right angle. So naming 2 pairs, we'd have, again, line WX. What line runs perpendicular? What line intersects? That'd be a line that goes vertical. So you'll have a horizontal line and a vertical line. So, and line WY. Okay, another pair would be line, we could say WX again, because there's another line that intersects WX. Okay, we could say and XZ. Look how I'm labeling those as lines. Okay, so a pair here and a pair there. So using our geometric terms to describe what's shown, that's using your new vocab words, using the notes that we created. What would we call these? Parallel lines. These intersect, but they create a perpendicular, create a right angle. Okay, you've got your point A here. Okay, same thing here. Now they're just showing you, kind of like you would see, you know, this would be like your highway or your interstate where you've got your two roads that don't ever intersect because one car is driving in this direction, one car is driving in that direction. Those are 2 roads you don't want to intersect, right? Without a stoplight or something like that. You know, here they do have their stop sign. Those are perpendicular. They form a right angle. But sometimes you do have roads that come together kind of at some different angles here, right? And those are intersecting lines. Okay, and then it just asks you to draw, and you don't need to do that. I'm just kind of going over this as practice. Okay, if you're feeling good, feeling confident, I'm going to go ahead and take out our lesson and kind of talk about what numbers I'd like you to complete on the assignment. So this is going to be page 825. Okay, homework and practice 16.1 with your lines. Again, you kind of have your reminder, your parallel lines, your intersecting lines, your perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines form right angles. Parallel lines never intersect. And then these intersect going through the same point. Okay, so using your geometric terms, name what you see in 1, what you see in 2. I've got my hand over 3 because like I said, I've recorded this now. This is my second time recording this video. Okay, you've got a straight line, but is that one of our geometric terms that we've been using? Look back. I want you to look back in your notes from today and your notes from yesterday or from earlier in the week. What kind of an angle is shown here? Right angle, straight angle, obtuse angle, or acute? That would be your straight angle. Okay? Looking here at 4 through 7, it says use the figure to the right. So that's right over here. You'll see in front of you, it's got your right angles and your intersecting lines, your perpendicular, all of that. Okay, here it asks us to name 3 different lines. Now remember, to name a line goes on and on forever and ever. A line segment stops. An array starts and goes on forever in one direction. And a lot of times, the only difference is how you name it. So let's take a look here. If we're naming 3 different lines that go on forever and ever, we want to make sure that they have arrows on top. Okay, so I've got line E, L. Okay, you've got lots of options here. You can stay from E or you can go somewhere completely different. Just make sure you're picking 2 letters, okay, that create a line, and that you're making the line with the 2 arrows on top. They want you to name 3. Here, name a pair of parallel lines. So the lines that run in the same direction, that are never going to cross. Obviously, these lines all here are intersecting at point E. These lines are intersecting at point F. So what 2 lines do you see that are never crossing? Okay, they do run up and down. Name 2 lines that are perpendicular. Okay, you'll have to look at what that is. Name 2 intersecting lines. Now your intersecting lines may also be perpendicular, so you might be using some of the same answers here, and that's fine. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions. You guys have done a great job, and we'll see you guys later.